The following video is sponsored by In Exile Entertainment.
Salutations everybody, it's Matty here. So you think you're a bona fide pro at Wasteland 3, huh? Do you? Well, until you watch the entirety of this tips video, I don't think you are. Provided you're slow on the uptake like me. I'm hoping that's the case, otherwise the comments are gonna be full of other tips that are more useful than mine. All right, let's get things started. We're gonna be investing in barter. There's a suite of skills in Wasteland 3, lots of ways to build your character, but make sure you have one proficient in bartering. Not only does this increase the sell value because money makes the world go around, even in this video game, but also there is a special perk that's available for those who have invested in their barter called Antiques Appraiser. This gives you a 5% chance of having junk items being sold for 50 times their value. Now I know what you're thinking, right? 5%, come on Matty, it's such a small chance, but when you're selling junk in mass, this perk has the ability to proc multiple times. So you can make thousands and thousands of dollars. If you run a couple of missions, you have a bunch of junk stocked up, and then you sell it all at once, you're gonna make a ton of money. This will allow you to get all the weapons, armor, attachments, pay your way out of quests, what have you, with extra cash in pocket without running yourself dry. This is like a must-have in my opinion. It's amazing that I did find this in my playthrough. Some people were talking about not having enough money. This is what you gotta do, trust me. Number 2, play in co-op. Get it? 2-player co-op. Okay. I feel like these games, whether it's Wasteland 3 or Divinity Original Sin 2, just play better with a friend. It's so fun making choices together. It's easier if you're new to these types of games and want to get into them. I did say I feel Wasteland 3 has a better pace for this style of game. It's very quick to get your turn back, combat moves fast, and when you're coordinating strategies in combat with friends, making choices that affect the story with friends, having a friend manage half the squad size, it just makes the experience a lot easier to digest, not as overwhelming, less time spent in menus, more time just playing the game. Overall, I think Wasteland 3 is a fantastic single player game. You can enjoy it through and through that way, but I think it's the most fun with co-op. So if you can get this with a buddy, go ahead and do so. The game's available on Game Pass, so if you're an Xbox owner or you're on PC, sign up for a month and play the game. It's really worth it. I have a whole review. I'll have it linked in the description down below. Number 3, go all in on your builds. Don't try to make a character who does everything. It's not worth it. There's a reason that Wasteland 3 provides you with 6 rangers in your party. The reason you want to do that is because everyone needs to be good at something different, whether one's good at lockpicking and automatic weapons, one's good at melee weapons, as well as weapon modding. Diversify your party. And I know for some that may be obvious, but once again, if you're new and you're stepping in here, you may want to make that jack of all trades character that most RPGs support. Wasteland 3 supports diversity within your party because part of that is also the ammo overlap you have to account for. Ammo is a precious resource that you'll discover throughout the entire Wasteland. Each weapon uses its own specific type of ammo, but for example, if you have 2 people using the 556 ammo, then that precious resource is gonna drain even quicker. Something you really don't wanna have happen is mid-combat run out of ammo. Trust me, it's horrible. Diversifying your party also allows for a variety of skill checks to be passed. It doesn't account for just the character you're controlling, but rather your whole squad. So various quests, dynamic encounters in the world, all can have skill checks that can then be passed if your team is proficient in a lot of areas, rather than trying to just dive into one character and make them good at everything. Make particular people good at very specific things and it will pay off in the long run. Also, random quick tip, this doesn't really count as a major one, but turn on auto saves and set it to every 5 minutes. While I think Wasteland 3 is fairly balanced in its difficulty, sometimes you will encounter the occasional very tough battle, and maybe you were just locked in the moment, you were enjoying the game and you didn't think to stop and hard save or stop and quick save. Having this enabled just sort of removes a worry from your mind, so even if you die or God forbid the game crashes or you disconnect, that you're actually able to just reload from a couple of minutes ago and you won't lose all that much progress. I've seen a lot of people talking about that in the comments. Sometimes they've lost progress, so just make sure to turn on the autosave. I understand it's frustrating, I get it, I'm with you, but I do think that this can help alleviate some people's pains. Number 4, the serial killer Quirk is busted. So at the beginning of every character creation process, you're able to select a quirk. This is a passive that applies a really strong buff to your character, but also a strong penalty. And now there are a lot of them that are very fairly balanced in my opinion, but I think the serial killer one is the best because for a kill you get in a turn, you'll gain 3 AP. However, the trade-off is that you have -1 overall action points. Now, for every space on the grid, those action points do matter a lot in combat. However, the sacrifice of if you are a sniper with the serial killer perk, you're gonna be one-shotting people constantly. So more likely than not, you're not gonna be moving, so that -1 AP isn't gonna hurt you. And then if you're using the serial killer perk and you're one-shotting people, you can easily take out 2 enemies before your turn is even over. Really worthwhile quirk. Those two match up well. You could also have an explosives party member with serial killer. Someone who does high damage with the serial killer quirk is a must-have in this game. Huge difference maker, buys you a lot of time on your turn, and they will do the most damage on your party for sure. Also, be sure to save equipment that boosts stats. So of course in this game, you're gonna have equipment that's gonna boost your armor, your hit percentage chance, but sometimes you'll get, say, mechanics +1. This is helpful to hold on to because sometimes you'll need that one extra stat point that you don't have, and if you could just equip an item, suddenly you're able to get through that locked door, get into that safe, get into that terminal. This type of stuff really does help. So just hold on to them, right? Especially if you've got the Antiques Appraiser perk I mentioned, you have no need to sell some of these important pieces of equipment that your characters could use later in the game. It may sound like just 1 point, but like I said, if you're at 4 mechanics and you need to get to 5 or 5 and need to get to 6, having that mechanics hat is gonna help you out a lot. So just hold on to that stuff, trust me. Number 6, we're reaching the end here. Do not force spend your perk points. So the structure of the leveling system in Wasteland 3 is that after you hit your 4th level, every other level you earn a perk point. It's not a frequent commodity in this game. So you gotta make sure when you're picking a perk point that you're spending it wisely. You're not gonna be able to fill up that perk tree. Sometimes you'll level up, you'll be looking at that perk tree and you'll see, for example, in the level 10 category as a person who made a brawler that I can have -1 AP for all my attacks. Man, that's worth it. But right now, nothing's catching my eye. Save the perk point. Even if you end up having 2 perk points in total when it's time to spend, that can give you a much better benefit to your character than force spending it because you can't undo it. And these are really what fortify what your build's gonna do because they make you very proficient in one particular thing. So be careful when locking in those perk points. Really take them into consideration. If nothing's catching your eye or you're unsure about something or you don't know enough about something, just hold on to it. Even if you learn about it later on, that's better than locking in something that you can't undo and it'll still benefit you, but maybe not as strongly as you had hoped, because certainly some perks are better than others. All right, lucky number 7, our last tip for today's video is to make sure that you have an explosive party member on your team. I'm not even kidding. It's so helpful to have a party member who can just do a gigantic AoE attack. Now up front, this seems like an expensive investment. Rockets are hard to come by initially. You don't have a ton of them, and when you spend money on them, they're easily the most expensive ammo type in the game. But over the course of the game, you're gonna loot a ton. Over the course of the game, if you're taking my tips here, you're gonna have a lot of money. You'll be able to afford these rockets. Trust me when I say you will not regret having someone who can do a ton of damage to like 5 enemies at the start of a really tough combat encounter. Especially if you position everyone, you crouch them behind cover, and then you just have someone launch a rocket. Oh, dude. Huge difference maker. Between that, a serial killer sniper. Keep in mind, however, when it comes to the explosive characters, that you're gonna have to be fielding some friendly fire. Now, this is an option you can disable, but I think it makes the game less fun without having that risk of like your online friend blowing you up by complete accident, or sometimes saying this is for the greater good. But do know that explosives can get a bit, of course, chaotic. That's also something you should keep in mind for spray weapons, such as the heavy machine guns. Sometimes those have a wide cone of fire and can end up turning the battle against you rather than in your favor. I would just say preemptive strikes with the explosives are probably the ticket you're looking for. Anything more than that, you gotta be really careful. So it's a bit of a trade-off. Like I said, fairly balanced, but still something I think is a worthwhile investment if you've got that serial killer perk in tow. This is at least what I've done, and Wasteland 3, you know, it hasn't been a complete breeze, but on normal difficulty compared to when I played on Wasteland 2, we're doing pretty good here. So I just want to go ahead, share some wisdom, share some advice, see what you guys think about it. Let me know some tips in the comments down below for Wasteland 3 so that we can all survive this lovely wasteland together. Once again, I have my review in the description down below. That's not a part of the sponsored video offering. I made sure to get that done before I made this video here for you guys. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, I leave it in your hands. Let me know what you're thinking in the comments down below. Other than that, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. Big thank you to all the patrons who continue to push the limits of this content. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.